This clip continues from the previous one and looks at implementing those ideas in a simulationist point of view. We'll touch on how to frame intentions and the use of the dice. The clip begins by examining how to frame actions or intentions during the declaration phase so as to not butt heads or cause contention with the other imaginations at the table or with the resolution mechanics, neither of which is fun. So, without further ado, here we go.
So, for example, you might say something like, I line my sights up with the back of his head and hold my breath and slowly squeeze the trigger. You roll the dice, and either you hit, or you miss, or you botch, and you can deal with that from there. You haven't said something like, I blow his head off, and then have to eat your words. So what does all this mean? Well, the GM should trust the players to identify or create or establish things in the scene which would reasonably and realistically be there. And as I said before, not get so tied up in letting their imagination or having their imagination be the dominant one. Let the Game Master focus on action. Let the Game Master focus on who knows what. Let the Game Master focus on timeline. And let all little details be shared in between you. The player should respect that trust by not creating or forcing a situation where things are just going to their advantage. And this is part of that always say yes thing that I tend to have trouble with. Let the story be awesome on its own. Let the results dictate that kind of thing. So in a simulationist game, you are not owed an awesome outcome. And you, as we've said before, your character is not automatically the protagonist in the campaign. They become the protagonist by a long record of being awesome. And it's the system, the mechanics in this style of play which create awesome or not awesome. You earn each and every success. So when coloring the sketch, the imagination sketch that the GM is creating, fill it in with things that would realistically be there. And focus on your intentions. What are you trying to accomplish? How much time do you have? What do you know? How are you using that knowledge? Focus on those things and let the story take shape around you, and you will be taking a firm step toward simulation. Okay. Now, we've been talking about dice. Outsider68 has stated that he would very much like to hear our thoughts on die rolling in the open or not in the open. And I feel this is the appropriate place to get into it. In short, I feel that die rolling where all the characters would be aware that they have or have not succeeded, that should be in the open. So this basically means any combat rolling. It should all be out in the open. You know if you've been shot. You know if you hit with your shot. Now, you might not know how much damage you've done, but at the same time, in systems like the Ubiquity role-playing system, the hit and damage rolls are combined, so you can't really hide these things from the players, and I'm not really sure what advantage there would be routinely to doing so. So let's just keep it simple and say that anything that they would reasonably be aware of, having succeeded or failed, that should be rolled openly. Things like, did they successfully detect a lie? I like to keep those things behind the screen because the character doesn't know. And we're not acting. Right? It's not a case of me portraying ignorance. I've rolled to see if I caught out the villain in a lie. I know I failed, and now I will act surprised when the lie is revealed. It's not about acting. It's about viewing the world through the eyes of another character, through the eyes of another person. So maintaining the verisimilitude is much easier for everybody if the players don't know the outcome of die results when their characters wouldn't. So this means most of the time I roll openly. But for certain things where the level of success is important, or if the possibility of them recognizing their own success is not there, then they don't get to see what my rolls are. Now, in real practice, I don't use a Game Master screen, and I roll the dice either right there in front of the players or off to the side a little bit to just subtly state, I really would prefer that you not look at this roll, and my players respect that. And so I think it works for us, and it's something that others might consider. So, quick recap. Interactive description does work. It works very well for simulation, and it takes the burden off each individual player of controlling or creating or remembering a whole series of details. Characters can ask questions to create, and they can make statements about intentions to create. The Game Master fills in with description. And when actions are stated, if we focus on intention and not on our desired result, if we step back from desired results and just state intentions in order to obtain a result, the game can flow more smoothly with fewer hiccups or negative interactions between the player's imagination and the implementation of the resolution mechanics. Thanks for listening.